So today we are beginning geometry, and in geometry the most important thing that you have to remember is neatness. Okay, so there is no overwriting, there is no scribbling, there is no overlapping lines. एक line के ऊपर दूसरी जा रही है, or free hand. Nothing has to be drawn free hand. Means whenever you rule any line segment, ray, anything, if you are ruling something, you use a ruler and a pencil. Okay, and in the first shot it has to be correct. पहली बार में ही correct होना है. You cannot draw a line like that, first of all with your free hand, and even if you're drawing with the scale, say for example you have drawn like this, okay, and it is light, so you say, oh, it is too light, I want to make it dark. Then you place your scale again and draw on it, over it many times, and sometimes there will be double lines like this. All this is not allowed in geometry. Okay, so most important, cleanliness, neatness. Okay, and no overwriting, overlapping lines, nothing of that sort. So the basic unit of geometry, the first thing that you know to need to know is a point. A point, you know, is this. Okay, so this is the smallest unit in geometry. This is the first thing that you need to know in geometry, that it is called a point, and a point will have a name also. Any name can be given, and it will be usually a capital letter. Now this point can be anywhere. Now why do we want these points? So that we can refer to certain places on the figure. The first thing we are revising is a line. A line, you know, is the thing that you draw. Now I made a mistake, that is drawing freehand. So I use a ruler. And I can't use a pencil, I have to use a chalk. So a line can be extended endlessly in both the directions. Now always whenever you draw a line, it's a horizontal line, but even if it is a vertical line, it's called a line if it can be extended in both the directions. It can be a slanting line like this also. Okay, so if any line can be extended on both the sides, it will be called a line. Okay, now we can take any 2 points on the line and name it. Say for example this is AB, say for example this is PQ, then this will be represented as line AB. So this is the symbol for line. So if this is written like this, you are to read it as line AB. And for this line, how would you refer to this line? Line PQ. Okay, that is about lines. You can go on both the sides endlessly. Then opposite of line is a line segment. So a line segment is a part of a line which is of a fixed length, a definite length. A line we cannot say how long it is, but a line segment will have a fixed measure. So say for example this line segment over here, AB, is 7 centimeters. Okay, so then this will not be. So from here to here, these 2 points that you see, it is written 7 centimeters. So AB automatically becomes a line segment because we know the measure of this line segment. So how would you write it? Now this is the symbol for a line segment. So you draw a small line segment. Here you draw a small line that automatically becomes the symbol for line. So if you draw a small line segment, it becomes a symbol for line segment. So this is line segment AB. Now this AB can also be called as line BA, and this PQ can also be called as QP. Okay? So whether you call it like this, like that, it means one and the same. Similarly, for line segment also, you can call this line segment AB. You can also call it line segment BA. So what is the difference between line and line segment? This doesn't have any end point. It can be extended on both the sides endlessly. And line segment has two end points. You cannot extend it further because it has a fixed measure. Okay, and this is the symbol for line segment. Now ray. Ray is a mix of both of these. It means that on one side it has an end point, and on the other side it can be extended endlessly. So for example, if this is say R and this point is S, then if I'm talking about this ray, then whenever I write the name of the ray, wherever is the end point, that has to be mentioned first. So this will be called ray RS. I cannot say. I was telling you that in a line and a line segment, which letter you write first and which you write second doesn't matter, is immaterial. But in a ray, whenever you are writing the name of the ray, the letter which represents the end point has to be written first. Okay, so in this ray, R is the end point and S is the point where it can be extended. So even in this ray, if you look, S is the place where the arrow is. Okay, so it is not complicated. Now if your ray is facing somewhere else, say for example, your ray is going like that. Okay, and the name of this ray is say X, Y. Then if I am to write that ray first, this is the symbol for ray. Okay, that will be pointing towards the right only. And the end point is Y. So I will be writing Y first and then the arrow is towards X. So this will be read as ray YX. Okay, so when you're naming the ray, when you're writing about the ray, you need to be a little careful. Whatever to remember, however it looks, that is the way it needs to be. If the arrow is pointing is closer to X, then your X needs to be closer to the arrow. That's it. Now regarding ray, what did I say? That it has one end point and it can be extended in one direction. Then you have intersecting lines. Intersecting lines means two lines which cross each other at a point. So here there are two lines. Say for example, this is CD, okay, and this is say HI. So these two lines are crossing each other at one particular point. They are meeting. Okay, this point you can name it as O or any other letter. Usually we name it as O. And this point where these two lines are cutting each other is called the point of intersection. Point of intersection. Intersection means meeting. कहाँ पे meet हो रहा है ये दोनों. Okay. So intersecting lines. Intersecting means meeting lines. एक दोनों point meet हो रहे हैं यहाँ पे. Okay. So that is intersecting lines. Then parallel lines. Parallel lines means again they are a pair of lines. They are a pair of lines which are parallel. Parallel means at an equal distance from each other. Means in दोनों line के बीच में the distance wherever you measure. If I increase the length of this line, how much ever I keep increasing, this distance in the middle will remain the same. It will never meet. Two parallel lines never meet. They will always remain at the same distance from each other. Like for example, the edges of this particular scale is an example for parallel lines. This edge means this end of the scale and this end of the scale. This is one example of parallel line. Similarly, these two sides also, this one and that one. How much ever I make it longer, they will never meet. Okay, that is why they are called parallel lines. You have the railway tracks also, which are parallel, but of course sometimes they do meet somewhere, but as long as they are running side by side and the train is over it, you know that the distance between the two tracks is the same. It doesn't keep increasing and decreasing according to its mood.